r/AskWomen. Bachelor Mishka says, women who have gotten big/lots of tattoos, what's the worst comment you've gotten? Willing Strawberry 33 says, my least favorite are comments about how my back tattoo would look during doggy. A notion some men seem to find acceptable. Alamalu here says, girls with tattoos, RSLTS. I'm a college professor, dress very conservatively and frankly don't give a F. Panzram Stransum says, I'm from a decently large city where people don't bag an eye at most things, let alone tattoos. I haven't gotten any negative comments that I can even think of from the top of my head. But I will say that sometimes people feel like they have a right to touch you because of them. There have been times where my arms have been grabbed so people can get a closer look or so they can show my work to one of their friends. They usually mean well in their intentions, but yeah, that's something I'm not a fan of. Berserk's Now Border says, I don't like tattoos on women from my father. Avocado Frizz says, for context, have a full back piece. I was swimming alone in a South Tasmanian beach at sunrise, something I would do all the time, enjoying the lap of the waves and the beautiful horizon. All of a sudden I hear a splashing and a guy is suddenly next to me and says, hey, I like your tattoos. Keep in mind this was a large completely empty dark beach and it was barely 6 AM. Tattooed women literally can't do anything, it seems, lol. Bob Shall Prevail says, I've got a fairy that runs all along my hip and down my thigh. My now ex-husband put a sticky note on my thigh that said shitty tattoo. The tattoo itself was good, but I've gotten a lot heavier, so it doesn't look great anymore. Coobs2 says that I disappointed Jesus because our body is our temple or something along those lines. And Gleave 411 says, I was told tattoos have evil and sinister meanings behind them, and my body is a temple that I'm destroying. In retrospect, I kinda wish I left my canvas blank. Chris Photo says, I have one that covers the inside of my forearm. I work in healthcare, so I'm always around a ton of people who have no issues telling you what you think. The only really negative one was the woman who looked at it said, I don't get why you all want tattoos. In my day a lady didn't destroy her body. Her lipids and A1C and her lack of lifestyle changes said otherwise. I didn't take it too personally because a few weeks before that she looked at my very pregnant Kawaka's silicone wedding band and said she missed the days when people actually cared about their marriage and showed it rather than wear some cheap thing. Overall, I find elderly women are awesome about tattoos. Mine is floral, so they are always complimenting it and asking about it. Just last week I had 2 patients and their rate is the same day. The first told me she loved it and wished it had been acceptable to do things like that when she was my age because she was too old now. Obviously I told her she wasn't and offered to go with her. The other one asked where I got it because she had just taken her grandson to get one for his birthday and she didn't like his as much. OK Nectarin 5834 says, when I was 19 I got a piece that runs from my thigh to my hip. When I showed my mom she said, if you get any fatter, that will look worse. I was 5'6" and 135 pound maximum. Kodama24 says, surprisingly, the closest I got from a bad comment was my mom saying I would regret them in the future. It's been a few years, and I still love them, lol. Most people don't really care at all, or say they like it, even elders. Cats and Tats 84 says, I've had people question my faith many times. I'm a liberal Christian. But then I point out most of my ink is Bible or literary based, they are surprised. I have about 20 tattoos ATM, one coming up for my day. I just shrug off rude comments. I mostly get compliments. r/AskWomen. Axolotl Architect says, in a real life situation where your crush or significant other complimented another woman, how did it make you feel? If you were to be completely honest, Let It Rain 666 says. Depends who is the woman. Does he know her or not? North 832 says. IDC. Especially a crush, but I don't keep crushes for long. I usually speak up about my feelings. Ryan says. Well, I thought it was sweet of him to tell his mother he thought her new hairstyle looked nice. Momups2 says. He used to compliment girls flirtatiously. That bothered me. I told him it bothers me. He stopped. Boymummer85 says. In general, I don't care, but it depends on the situation as well. If there is blatant disrespect, then I would be mad. Regular Classroom 20 says. It depends on the compliment. If they compare me to the other woman, those are fighting words lol. If they give an over-the-top ode to their beauty or some other characteristic, I get a little suspicious. If it's a reasonable compliment that a friend might give to another friend, I might feel slightly jealous, but I know that's likely my insecurity talking, so I try to reason myself out of the jealousy. It also depends on their complimenting habits in general. If they are not out here complimenting all sorts of people, including men, and they specifically only compliment attractive women, I'm always going to feel a little on edge. Totha Gravuitham says. My husband is complimentary to his friends, men and women, when he has good things to point out. He praises his friends, men and women when he's proud of them. It's one of the things I love about him. He pays dues when it's warranted. Juunk says. My ex used to compliment people in seemingly innocent ways, and it always put a knot in my stomach, because I just knew how he was. One of our friends has 2 kids almost exactly 9 months after my 2, and I still wonder if helping make those kids could be why he refused to stay at the hospital with me after my kids' births. My current guy compliments people, and it makes me happy that he cares to make other people's day a little better. Testoster01 says. Shrug, I complimented her right after he did lol. C Red Scallops says. Proud that my partner is a kind human. Stinky Britches says. I'm sure it's happened many times, but it's so insignificant to me that I can't name a single instance of him doing it. Something like that from him just doesn't register with me, because any compliment I've seen him give is just a sincere observance. LHY13 says. Respectful and appropriate compliments are fine. Also, it's normal for us to still be able to realize that other people are physically attractive or have good qualities about them that we are attracted to, but not act on that in an inappropriate way that's disrespectful to our partners. Outside COD 667 says. It makes me happy because I like giving people a little bit of joy in their day, and I love when my partner does the same. We also have the same type when it comes to women, also I usually chime in and say I agree with him. If it was ever something inappropriate that made the other person uncomfortable, I would be very upset. Obenbang says. I'm bisexual, so I'll probably be right there with them. Timely Milk 2389 says. Okay, just complimenting, or always taking and commenting on other women? Big difference. If he's noticing everyone but me, we have a problem. If it's when a compliment is truly due respectfully, then no problem. It's all in the way he is doing it. Serences says. My husband has no enemies. So he's friendly and compliments others all the time, male or female. If he gets a little too gaga on the compliments, I just pull up the rugby feed. But that's a joke between us, because we both know what we like, except I'm not a 6'9" giantess, and he's not a 6'7" alpha shifter. r/AskWomen. Forwarder Bovilels says. Ladies who confronted and solved their declining energy levelswhat was the culprit. Xiaime says. Low iron, low vitamin D and insomnia caused from trauma lol. Yay. Agreeable Youth 2244 says. I was unfit. Little Curious Fox says, I was undiagnosed and masked for most of my life. I hit a wall at 30 and almost nosedived my career. Years of figuring out frameworks to keep myself going, thousands of dollars spent on executive coaching, etc. Nothing was working. I was diagnosed by a neuropsychologist 2 years ago at 33 years old. Life has been much better with treatment. The combination of therapy, exercise, diet, and medication have gone a long way. I feel like a new person. And the diagnosis gave me a new lease on life, as I'm now equipped to ask for accommodations when I normally wouldn't have. QW46Z says, worsening of congenital cardiac issues. 4187 says, heads is the root cause of extreme fatigue for me. Amoyro says, diabetes. Triggerall says, low hormones. Cithrorthoglas says, lack of iron and not enough sleep. I had been taking iron tablets for years, but finally got an iron infusion and that worked so much better. I also opted out of some activities in my life, mainly gym and volunteering. Now I sleep in a lot more and have more energy. I still miss the gym and volunteering, but I don't miss being tired and stressed all the time. PlantHo30 says, diet. I went vegan, but also stopped eating American wheat. I get my carbs only from whole foods, rice, quinoa, oats, fruit and potatoes. Of course I'm not perfect about the wheat, like for birthdays, only if there's vegan cake, though I'm at least strict about veganism. Also eating a lot of protein, meal prep healthy meals, and I'm also a supplement, popular girl, vitamin C, turmeric, multivitamin, biotin and ginkgo biloba. Goddess of Levex says, it was a mix of poor sleep and not enough exercise. Footdust says, me. I was the culprit. I was overweight, ate crap, worked a desk job, and never walked farther than the refrigerator. I was also depressed and complained constantly. I changed my diet, started exercising, lost the weight, and I went to therapy. I feel like a completely different person. Fizzjiggy says, vitamin D deficiency. Started becoming exhausted all the time. Couldn't sleep good and my arms and legs started to feel heavy and tingly. My blood work came back saying my vitamin D was extremely low. Within a month and a half or so of taking vitamins, I felt normal again. Appearance Existing 64 says, eating far more calories from bad sources than I thought I was. Sounds dumb, but after tracking my macros for a little while, I realized how much I was actually taking in and why I always felt so sluggish. Next Phil1312 says, depression lol. Wissa Relationship 7316 says, narcolepsy and celiac. Redwood Canyon says, stress and depression, both due to a major move/new job/life uproot. It took 6 months to normalize, and then my energy returned. Connects around 281 says, iron deficiency. Daydreamer Jane says, CPTSD and bad habits. I would sleep throughout the day during childhood, so I wasn't conscious of the abusive stuff going on in the household. That stayed with me as an adult and now I'm a stress sleeper, lol. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.